Okay, so I want to share this thought process here of there's a concept known as lifestyle creep, okay? Not that you're a creep, but or listening to Radiohead, but the lifestyle creep is you're making 100K, your spouse is making 100K, and you still feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck, okay? And you made 50K before, your wife made 50K, your significant other made 50K, and you felt like you were living paycheck to paycheck then, and each time you get a raise, you still feel as though you can't get your head above water, okay? Now, a lot of this goes back to what we end up doing with our expenses, especially our variable expenses, and with poor decision making, okay? And I'm gonna share some insights because I've been here and I've done this, is that what we end up doing is that we're making more money, and so when we make more money, we think, we should get a nicer car. Let's get a bigger house. Let's finish our basement. Let's go buy, a brand new, I don't know, washing machine when the one that we're using right now works perfectly fine. Let's go get more furniture. And this is real. This is what people do. Okay, so they'll make more money, and in turn, instead of saving more money, it's called lifestyle creep. What they do is they think through, okay, I have a car right now that's pretty nice. Well, I can afford a nicer car. I can take out another loan. I can sell this one back. And they don't have these benchmarks in place, okay? And one thing I want to share for myself that helps is that I have these frameworks of, I've shared this one with vehicles. We have to have a combined mileage of over 300,000 plus miles before we even think about getting another vehicle. Here's a big one as well. Personally, my wife and I have 4 children. We live in a house that has under 1,000 square feet. Now, we own 4 other properties worth $2 million combined, okay? But the thing that happened was that we looked at it and we just made a sacrifice early on. Okay, well, the first house we bought that home, okay? And when we bought that house, we lived in the home and we kept saving and we kept working and we saved as much as possible, following the guideline to get us to $10,000. And we just kept saving that money, following the same principles that we use with the checklist to get us to $10,000. Now, we were able to do that and follow through and then save close to $50,000. And then another property came up for sale that we were interested in. And when that other property came up for sale, what did we do? When the other property came up for sale, we ended up going, okay, if we move to the other property and we put money down and we renovate this other property, let's see if we can get a tenant in this house. Okay, so we could get a tenant to, at the very least, break even. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you, you should buy real estate, you should do all this, you're going to make so much money. You're not going to make a lot of money. It's not going to happen. Okay, you can if you're all dialed in on real estate. But what ends up happening is a lot of people think through this. They try to buy another house, and at the same time, they want to get a new car. They want to get a bigger house that they already have, and they also want to get new furniture and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm going to rewind back here because the concept that we're going to go into is a concept that I don't think anyone has ever talked about. Now, as far as the term is what we like to use with my wife and I when we're sort of going through all this stuff and thinking through like the decisions that we've made. Now, going back to the lifestyle creep, the biggest things to go through is when you have the $10,000 checklist in place, okay, is that you uphold that past 10K. And if you continuously uphold that and you have frameworks for a car, you have frameworks for a house, there's sacrifices that you have to make then. Because a lot of people will say, well, you have the money, when are you going to get a nicer car? You don't need a nicer car if you don't want a nicer car, okay? If you have a car that's perfectly fine, and people will make these justifications as well. I want to point that out. People will justify in their head, they'll say, well, I got a flat tire twice, I need to go get another car. Well, I got, this car did X, Y, or Z to me, I got to go get another car. And instead of doing that, stick by the vehicle that you have, because even if you're spending $1,000 twice in a year, it's going to be cheaper than if you put money out and you get a car loan, and on that car loan, you still have to pay another $300 to $500 a month, okay? Same thing with buying furniture and stuff like that. My wife and I have never purchased new furniture or anything like that, and that helped us save long term to get to the point where we would have extra real estate. And this is what I like to call lifestyle, okay? So we're looking at this lifestyle assets. So for you to go from 10K to 100K, okay, or 100K to 500K, the most important thing to start to think through, and this is really, really challenging, is that when we get to this point of making money and you let's say you have 50K saved or 100K saved, is the thought of it's not just about saving money now, it's about getting an asset, okay? So if we look back, and for us, we reflect back, there was a couple key points, okay? During COVID, we ended up selling like all this stuff that I had in our barn at our house that we got for $160,000 because we bought an old beat up house. We renovated it as cheaply as possible with a dude that we found on Craigslist. And then what ended up happening, we had more money, okay, from the junk that I ended up selling on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, that then I could invest in small assets. Now, the thing I want you to think through is that if you are trying to get to that 100K mark, or you're trying to find that next jumping point, think through lifestyle assets. Do not think through lifestyle creep. Or you can look at it and say, this is an example of lifestyle creep, is buying all this other new things that I don't really need. This is an example of lifestyle asset. Can I make money? Can I create a new business? Can I sell? Can I purchase, let's say, an ETF? Can I purchase some type of real estate at a very low level? Just get your feet in the door. And so if you are sitting here right now, you can actually write on a piece of paper, lifestyle creep examples, lifestyle asset examples. And that's the first big step. Once you're saving that money, once you have the 10K saved and you're on that path, now you start making decisions off of lifestyle assets, okay? Because people that are buying new cars, people that are buying new furniture, people that are buying bigger houses, so instead of buying, if we have 4 children and we have 2 bedrooms for our kids and we have 1 bedroom for us, okay? If we're able to live in a 1,200 or a house that's smaller than 1,200 square feet, if we're able to do that, somebody else is able to do that if you're willing to make the sacrifice. And what we have to reflect back on is it that bad to live in a house that's 980 square feet? No, it's actually not that bad. It's not bad at all. And what makes it even better is that we're able to acquire other assets because we've saved so much money. We don't, we would hang our clothes out on the back line, even in the winter, because we burn with a wood stove. We dry our clothes with our laundry on the hanger in front of the wood stove. And that created the privilege and the ability to then execute to have lifestyle assets. And if we think through an asset, it's something that's increasing in value over time. And it's something that could potentially, obviously, it's making you financial gains over time. So if you're looking at something like a business, that is an asset that you're creating greater value time over time if you're investing in it. If you're looking at an ETF, it's increasing in value so you can make a low level investment early on, okay? And then if you're looking at, let's say, a new couch, that's not creating you any more functionality. You probably have a friend or a parent or a cousin who wants to get rid of their couch, and their couch is only 5 years old. So go get that couch for free and sacrifice the fact that, hey, we're not gonna have a brand new couch. We're gonna have a nice, fine couch. And I could share with you, my couch in my living room is from my in-laws, and we've had the same couch for the last 10 years. That's a sacrifice so that we can get to the point to create more assets long term, or to create more comfort long term, because we're not wasting that money. Eventually, you will get to the point where you establish the comfort level that you want. But that happens too early. I believe that happens too early with all of us. We choose too early in our financial career, okay? We choose too early the route of comfort. But we need to sacrifice for 10 to 15 plus years while we're trying to save money, while we're trying to build assets, while we're raising our children. We need to choose more discomfort. Because when you choose more discomfort early on, you teach better habits to your kids. But then on top of that, long term, you create more assets. And then later, when you're 45 or 50, you have less financial stress. So the big lesson here, okay, look at lifestyle creep, analyze what lifestyle creep is, and then come back and have a sheet. This is an example of 10 things of lifestyle creep that I'm gonna make sure don't happen. This is an example of lifestyle assets. These are assets that I want to acquire, or I want to build up, or I want to develop over the next 10 years. And as I make more money, okay, this is how I'm gonna get to this point. And it's gonna start with saving that first $10,000 and then getting to that 100K point, following those checklists, and eventually developing more financial freedom. I hope this helps somebody get to that next level, but it ultimately comes back to that lifestyle assets. Peace.